Divorce is tough, but your finances don't have to be. I'm David Cross, and I'm a certified divorce financial analyst practitioner. My job is to help you get a fair financial settlement in your divorce and to guide you to smarter money decisions. Find out how we can help you. U.S. Asset Management. It's your money and your future.
Unser Land, ja meine Damen und Herren, unsere Demokratie, sie lebt vom Ausgleich der Interessen und diesen Ausgleich ermöglicht die Bundesregierung. Radikale Kräfte, die vor allem Probleme beschreiben, das Land schlechtreden und vermeintlich einfache Lösungen anbieten, gibt es gerade in vielen Demokratien, auch bei uns. Aber wir sind stark genug, diese Angriffe auf unsere Freiheit und auf die Stabilität unseres Landes gemeinsam zurückzuweisen. Die Antworten radikaler Parteien, ob nun von links oder von rechts, mögen verführerisch klingen, aber sie gestalten nicht, sie zerstören. Sie spalten unser Land und würden es, sollten sie politische Verantwortung in Deutschland übernehmen, in den Abgrund führen, meine Damen und Herren.
More U.S. troops out of Europe, and if so, how many and where specifically?
I haven't made that final determination. A lot's going to depend on Greenland, and a lot. I think, we'll make a very good deal on Greenland, and if we don't, maybe I will. And a lot's dependent on Iran. I mean, they want to help now. It's a little late to the thing because essentially there's not that much fighting to be done. But some will depend on Iran. When they had a chance, an opportunity to help, they chose not
Turkey
to.
today. Turkey's going to get new aircraft now, it seems, from America.
Hopefully not.
Well, perhaps you could comment on that and the implications for
Believe me if I answer otherwise. Greece is not happy for Turkey to get the F-35. Greece is not happy with Turkey getting engines for a new generation aircraft. And our general approach to that is we are not to judge what the United States of America is doing and to whom the United States of America is selling. That's the business of the United States government. We're just asking one question. Is it to the real interests of the United States of America, yes or no? And of course, it's for the American people and the American government to answer that. Let me give you, again, a just small comment. It is certain that for the United States government, NATO, and especially stability in the Eastern Mediterranean, is essential. So, giving a platform to one country in the Eastern Mediterranean without the caveat that this cannot be used against another ally member, is it to the interest or not to the interest of the United States? And the same if there was...
קשה לפגוע בהם. פגענו במתקני ההמרה, פגענו במדענים, פגענו במפעלים לייצור צנטריפוגות, פגענו, הרחקנו את האיום הזה. אבל זה כמו שאתה עוקר סרטן מהגוף שלך. זה לא אומר שהוא לא יכול להיות גרורות, שתחזורנה. אבל זה כן אומר דבר אחד. אם לא תעקור אותו, אתה תמות. זירה עולמית, לייצר ביטות חדשות, לפתח יחסים, מערכות יחסים חדשות, למשל, כפי שאני עושה כרגע עם הודו. ולכן, זה מה שאני חושב, שנחוץ כדי להיות ראש ממשלת ישראל, אבל לא אני קובע. והדבר הנוסף הוא, שאתה לא אוסטריה עם F-35.
אתה לא מה?
אתה לא אוסטריה עם F-35. אתה לא נמצא שם באירופה עם הבעיות שיש להם, אבל אתה מדינה של עם עתיק, שחזר ובנה בארצו את מדינתו, ואתה מאוים עדיין במסתמה.
זאת יהיה לו את אותם מטוסים כמו לנו.
ארדואן אדם מסוכן מאוד.
טורקיה בהובלתו היא איום משמעותי מאוד על מדינת ישראל. אני קודם כל רוצה לומר לך ולאזרחי מדינת ישראל, אנחנו נערכים למול האיום הזה במגוון רחב של דברים. אנחנו מנהלים שיח מאוד אינטנסיבי עם הנשיא ועם אנשיו, ועובדים מאוד קשה, ואני לא רוצה לעשות את זה כרגע באולפנים, אבל מעל ומתחת לפני השטח כדי לנסות למנוע את המחירה הזאת של מטוסי F-35 לטורקיה. אני מציע לכולנו, עוד פעם, פה זה לא עניין של ימין ושמאל, להחזיק אצבעות לראש הממשלה ולכל מי ששותף למאמצים האלה כדי שנצליח בזה. אבל שוב, אנחנו לא יכולים לאפשר למי שקורא במוצהר, במובן הזה הוא מאוד דומה לאיראנים, מי שקורא במוצהר להשמדת מדינת ישראל, מי ששולל את הלגיטימציה שלנו כיהודים. אגב, זה מזכיר תקופות בהמות אפלות בהיסטוריה של העם היהודי. מלחמת העולם השנייה, זו טורקיה, זה ארדואן, אסור שהוא יקבל נגישות לנשק שובר שוויון, אנחנו חייבים לשמר את העליונות הצבאית הביטחונית.
International aircraft, effective immediately, Palm Beach International Airport is officially President Donald J. Trump International Airport. President Donald J. Trump International Airport, ATIS Information Hotel, now current, Trump altimeter 3009.
There we go, it's official.
Always have an Alpha Foxtrot, understand the President.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a little bit of a short show today. I've got to catch a plane to travel, and Tom Teague had to reschedule. So we're going to go about an hour this morning, but we'll make sure it's full of important information as you and I and us connect the dots as to what's going on in the world. Interesting stuff in the cold open. Number one, Greece doesn't, is an arch enemy of Turkey. They don't want Turkey to get F-35s and new engines. Greece is also, involved with the whole, Cyprus, Israeli thing. And it's really just an interesting situation. And we're going to stay on that because Turkey is rising. Excuse me. Hold on. Turkey is definitely rising. So you saw Smotrich in the cold open talking about Turkey should not be getting F-35s, and it's just fascinating. Turkey's a rising country. We've been talking a lot about Turkey and Israel and any possible conflict coming down the road, so we're going to stay on that story as well. And we've got some Russian breaking news, which I want to walk through here in a little bit, but essentially the Russians are throwing the Trump card, the bullshit card, and saying, we're going to escalate. So escalation meets escalation. Not good, guys. World War III inbound could go global at any minute, and we've got a source who knows a lot. Ukraine's getting Patriots, which we don't like that much at all. And Israel is moving close to India. Why would that be? Perhaps they see what's going on in the U.S. and want another ally. Wow, a lot to go through. I want to say hello to the crew in the chat. You're cleared hot. Check out whatfinger.com, great aggregator site that posts a lot of our content. Let's do the mission brief. I'm Todd Wood. Today is July 9th, and here's your mission brief. Why is Kiev getting Patriot licenses to build the technology in Ukraine? In Ukraine, technology goes to the highest bidder. I want to talk about what the pressures are to do that. Russian musical chairs, pressure against the Kremlin, threats, and the reality of the situation we'll discuss. Turkey and Israel coming to the forefront, which I just mentioned. The Iran war escalated again overnight. And then Empire State Building proposal, a good, as we get close to the weekend. It's Friday. I'm in love tomorrow. And we're going to give you a feel-good story in Manhattan. All right, that's it for the first segment. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere on the SCIF. We got a lot to go through. So we'll be right back.
Every day, your data is being tracked, collected, and sold, often without you even realizing it. Big tech companies control your devices, your apps, and the information you share. From your messages to your browsing habits, everything is being monitored and stored. Over time, we've traded privacy for convenience, and most people don't even question it. But what if you could take that control back? That's where Mark 37 comes in. Mark 37 provides privacy-focused phones, laptops, and tablets designed to give you full control over your digital life. With secure systems, expert support, and simple tools, they make it easier to step away from constant tracking and data collection. Because privacy isn't just a feature, it's a fundamental choice. It's about protecting your data, your freedom, and your future. Take back control of your digital life with Mark 37.
And by the way, I wanted to say I'm starting my journey with Sean. I'm going to be getting a Ghost phone and then upgrading to a Ghost computer soon, because I am going to unplug for the Matrix. And you can follow me along on my journey. So mark37.com/CDM is where you want to go to do that. Find the webinar, sign up for the webinar, and learn everything you need to know to get started. And then you can also sign up for a free 30-minute consultation on privacy there at mark37.com/CDM. But I'm looking forward to it, and I have been worried about privacy for some time. So I'm going to be taking the plunge and changing my life and unplugging from the Matrix, and I'm really looking forward to it. So maybe you can join me.
A warm welcome here at the National Press Club. Welcome to the journalists, welcome to the Embraer team, and welcome to the other guests that we have here. Going to announce, and as some of you guessed it right when they came in, the first E2 order by an American operator. And that operator is Avello. We believe this is really a strategic shift to unlock profitability for the customer. I'm very pleased that we have Andrew Levy here as the CEO of Avello, and I'm very pleased to give the stage to share a little bit more about what Avello is going to do with the E2 195. Thank you very much.
Couldn't be more excited to be here as part of this historic announcement. We have such a great cultural fit as companies, so we're very, very excited to be Embraer's newest customer. We launched our airline in April of 21, and our target is focusing on small secondary airports of large metro areas. We've carried over 8 million customers since we started on 63,000 flights. And we've done all these things with 1,200 of the greatest crew members I could ever imagine having, and many of them are here with me today. This is the right airplane for us. It's going to open up opportunities for us that no other aircraft can serve. The best thing about the airplane, of course, is you will not find a middle seat on this airplane. It doesn't exist. We won't have any to offer. It's going to be the best cabin in the United States, and we're so excited about that. This is going to elevate our experience to the highest level, and we think our customers are absolutely going to love the airplane.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
All right, welcome back to the SCIF. Let's talk about some stories, and then we're going to get into some other things. But this one is breaking. We put it out this morning. Breaking exclusive. We have sources close to the Russian leadership, and there's some personnel changes going on at the Kremlin as the pressure applied by NATO and Ukraine with the long-range strikes into Russia is causing tension. And it's also causing a reaction from the Russians, which, we could have predicted, which is, I think Trump is getting advice that if you continue the long range strikes into Russia, then, the Kremlin will fold and come to the negotiating table. And frankly, I just think that's bad advice. I think this war needs to end, as Pete Blaber and I have said over and over and over again. And so the Kremlin is basically saying we're going to escalate this morning. So World War III is getting a lot closer to a nuclear exchange. The tripwire will be, okay, you have these long-range weapons being built in Europe and distributed to Ukraine via European channels and possibly American channels. And so when do those distribution points, factories and warehouses and leadership that's enabling this, when does that get close to a nuclear exchange or a strike, conventional strike, maybe in a Reznik with conventional warheads in Europe? That is the tripwire we're facing now. The Russians, I'm also told, are miffed over the broken promises they see as broken promises from the Alaska summit with President Trump and President Putin. So this is getting real, folks, and we want the war to end. We don't need escalation to escalate. We need a peace agreement on the ground. Russia is continuing to take territory in Donbass. Konstantinovka is also being overrun by Russia's forces. The next one on the chart is Slavyansk, which is really the death knell for any kind of resistance in Donbass to the Russian invasion. So in our view, we need to stop this war. We're at a good time to stop it. You know, let's draw the line where Russia is and stop the war and stop it from going further, because, you know, Zelensky is, we put out a lot of information recently that he's creating a mercenary army, that he's creating a robot army. It's becoming the largest standing army in Europe. And now President Trump is giving Zelensky some of our really important technology, which is Patriot interceptor missiles. He's going to give them a license to build them in Ukraine. So what is with that? Anyone that knows Ukraine and has been seen in the news for 5 years now is that the technology goes to the highest bidder, which means all of our enemies are going to get the Patriot missile technology. So why is that? There must be massive pressure on the Trump administration to get interceptors in place, because we're using them in the Middle East. We have Israel to protect, according to the White House, and we don't have any for Ukraine. So Ukraine gets our most favored technology, which is going to be sent to China. And so China will have Patriot missiles. Israel definitely have them, and maybe others. So in my view, not a good situation. We need to stop this war, go to the table, make a peace treaty, draw the line, and end it. And that's my point, and I'm sticking to it. You saw in the smoke in the cold open, the Turkey-Israel thing is getting much hotter. Israel does not like Turkey getting American F-35s and re-engineering their fighters, and Greece doesn't like it either. Greece is, opposed to Turkey, and the Israelis are building beachheads in that area of the world as well to counter Turkey, and you're going to see more great gamesmanship as the chessboard gets moved around. I was Smotrich in the cold open talking about how Turkey can't get this technology. Also, Israel moving close to India. You need to see what's happening on the chessboard. They're losing influence here in the United States. That's obvious. It's been talked about all over the internet for a year now. And so what does that mean? Do they take American? We're about to allegedly, according to some congressmen, merge our weapons development processes with Israel. Does that mean that India gets the technology? Does that mean that others get the technology? So does that mean that Ukraine is going to get the technology? A lot to think about here, and a lot to make sure we put America first when we make decisions. So we're going to continue down that road. Iran is continuing to pop off. You had massive escalation overnight with the U.S. doing another strike of approximately 90 targets after 80 the previous night. So the Iran war is increasing in its intensity again, and that's going to have ramifications all over, because you've got Iran sending large barrages of ballistic missiles and drones into Kuwait, into Bahrain, and other Gulf nations, and I'm sure they're not happy about this either. So we're in it now. We need some really strong leadership, and hopefully President Trump obviously has been trying to give it his best, but we need to make sure we find a way out of both these conflicts, because we're in it. And we don't want these conflicts to spread. Although in our view, as we've mentioned, and by the way, we have Susan Kokinda on next Wednesday. I'm very excited about this. It's the UK power matrix behind all of this, pushing the war in Ukraine, pushing the war with Iran for financial reasons out of the City of London, which is the old banker concept that, the bankers' wars. So we're back to the same thing. History rhymes, and it's rhyming big time right now. By the way, if you want to really see a prescient novel of all of this, which I wrote a while back, but if you're looking, it's extremely current and prescient right now. My novel Currency, it's available anywhere. They have signed copies at History of Books, I believe. You can order direct from them. And but you can see the reviews on Amazon. There's over 500, 4-point-something stars. Some people hate it, but most people love it. It's historical fiction. It's a unique book. It's different than anything you've read before, but it's tied into today. People tell me I get a financial degree reading it. I stayed up all night to read it. It should be a movie. That feeling of just not wanting to stop reading at 2 a.m. So Currency is the first one, and the rest of the Conor Murray series you can check out as well, which we've talked about before. But if you want to see my view on what's been happening, I've been very consistent. That book tells it all right there. So we're going to take another break. We'll be back, and I want to talk. I've got Sean Patrick Theriault to discuss Mark37.com, and then we'll wrap it up for the day with some further comments. But I just want you to connect the dots and see what is happening. So we'll be back. Don't go anywhere on the SCIF.
Every day, your data is being tracked, collected, and sold, often without you even realizing it. Big tech companies control your devices, your apps, and the information you share. From your messages to your browsing habits, everything is being monitored and stored. Over time, we've traded privacy for convenience, and most people don't even question it. But what if you could take that control back? That's where Mark 37 comes in. Mark 37 provides privacy-focused phones, laptops, and tablets designed to give you full control over your digital life. With secure systems, expert support, and simple tools, they make it easier to step away from constant tracking and data collection. Because privacy isn't just a feature, it's a fundamental choice. It's about protecting your data, your freedom, and your future. Take back control of your digital life with Mark 37.
And by the way, I wanted to say I'm starting my journey with Sean. I'm going to be getting a Ghost phone and then upgrading to a Ghost computer soon, because I am going to unplug for the Matrix. And you can follow me along on my journey. So mark37.com/CDM is where you want to go to do that. Find the webinar, sign up for the webinar, and learn everything you need to know to get started. And then you can also sign up for a free 30-minute consultation on privacy there at mark37.com/CDM. But I'm looking forward to it, and I have been worried about privacy for some time. So I'm going to be taking the plunge and changing my life and unplugging from the Matrix, and I'm really looking forward to it. So maybe you can join me.
Through the pandemic, we can never be caught unprepared again. And so many Americans, when COVID hit, they had nothing in the house. Stores were shut down, and doctors' offices were shut down. And even if doctors prescribed drugs, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, pharmacists wouldn't fill the prescriptions. That was a nightmare.
Now the situation is much worse. We have these horrible supply chain problems. In our emergency medical kit at the Wellness Company, we have 8 prescription drugs that are all potentially life-saving.
Most people who died with COVID, they died in the hospital because they didn't receive early treatment.
Every American family should have one of these.
I can tell you the Wellness Company kit is the answer.
With my 35 years of experience, our team at U.S. Asset Management can deliver professional investment management, financial planning to help you target your goals, and even specialized divorce financial analysis if you need it. We are here to help you make better decisions with your money. Call U.S. Asset Management today, and let's get to work in your financial future.
All right, welcome back to the SCIF. I wanted to give a shout out also to mark37.com. Today is the last day for their discount. It's the July 4th America 250th discount at mark37.com. Make sure you put the /CDM on the end, mark37.com/CDM. And you can use July 4, July, all one word, and the numeral 4, all one word, July 4, and get 10% off at mark37.com. And start your journey to unplug from the matrix with me. So I should have some updates on that soon. And I wanted to go through a few more stories before we get into hear from Sean. Ukrainian drones hit Blue Stream pipeline coming from Turkey. This was really interesting. So you had the NATO summit. You had Trump really pushing Erdogan and Turkey and saying how close they were, giving him F-35s, giving him new engines for his fighter jets at the expense of Israel and at the expense of, really not having, at the expense of Iran, because not having Turkey in the war with Iran. I think he really wants to appease Erdogan and not have him in the war. So what does Ukraine do? They target the Blue Stream pipeline going into Turkey, which is the gas pipeline into Turkey. Turkey relies on Russian gas. Turkey relies on Russia for tourism. And we had a situation a while back when Turkey shot down a Russian Su-24, I believe, with an F-16 in Syria, northern Syria, and Turkey and Russia had bad relations for a while, but they're back not having bad relations. There's still a lot of tourism, a lot going into Turkey out of Europe and out of the UK and other areas as well. I've been there. And so the situation of Ukraine bombing that pipeline is really kind of a middle finger to Trump. So I find that, again, fascinating. And I tie this to Israel because I think that Israel doesn't want Turkey to get more powerful. So they used, and you look at the timing here where they bombed this pipeline during the NATO summit where Trump was buttering up Erdogan. So, wow, just kind of in your face by Ukraine and Israel. And the more that there's a connection there, and we're going to talk about it more over time. You had Timur, the guy who stole $100 million out of the weapons plant and fled to Israel, who was Zelensky's best buddy, maybe in more ways than one. So anyway, that's a big story. Again, Turkey, Israel is big. We're going to stay on it. And I mentioned this already. Trump gave Zelensky weapons, which I don't think is cool at all. He gave him the license to produce Patriots inside Ukraine, which means the technology is going to go to Israel and China, which means it's probably already in Israel, but which means it's going to the highest bidder, which means weapons proliferation. And there's obviously pressure, which is the downside of starting this war, which we were against in the beginning, where you're not going to have enough Patriots. That's obvious. They can't produce them fast enough to support both theaters. So this is Trump's answer, but there's going to be downstream effects of this, of course. All right, Iran war, I mentioned, second day, massive strikes. And this is just an update. You can find these every morning. By the way, our European team and our Middle East team overnight are working these stories. So you're going to see much more coming out of that area. We're going to be in Beirut again in a couple of weeks, in about 10 days, actually. And we're going to be meeting with our team there on the ground in Beirut, who's putting up a lot of these stories, as well as our European staff. We're not naming a lot of these reporters because it's kind of dangerous for them. But anyway, you can see these stories every morning by about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on cdm.press. This one is big. White House reports Smithsonian's political actions are trying to destroy the country, essentially. This has been interesting for a while. There's obviously a lot of DEI and Marxism inside the Smithsonian, which is not good for the country. And it may be even deeper than that, possibly changing history. Possibly, even could be destroying artifacts, destroying history, kind of like the communists always do, like the Russians, destroying everything that had to do with the Romanovs, destroying history to take power and prevent the old regime from old style, the old culture from coming back. So I think the Smithsonian is in on this, and Trump the Trump administration is right to point this out. But again, an ongoing story that we want to discuss. All right, now we're going to hear from Sean Patrick Terrio. I've run this interview before, but I think it's really important. And so we're going to hear from Sean, and we'll be back after that to wrap up the show with some more comments.
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So I wanted you on because I saw an article on Zero Hedge this week that said that executives of tech companies in Europe, in the EU, will get 5 years in prison if they don't give full backdoors on every device, computers, laptops, phones, to the EU government. You've been talking about this for a long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Orwellian state that they're driving us to, and what the, all the different major organizations, whether it's the UN or it's the Economic Development or Economic World Forum, they've been telling us this is exactly what they want to do. This is part of Agenda 2030. They want to own and control the devices. And it's like, why people are shocked and surprised at this is shocking and surprising to me, when all we have to do is listen to what they're telling us. So not surprising. The enforcement piece is going to be interesting. That's what I'm very curious about, is how they're actually going to enforce this, especially when we have 95+% of the servers that run the major corporations around the world that use Linux. And that's specifically because the systems engineers and network engineers and software engineers, they want control and ownership of the hardware that runs their businesses. So I think there's going to be a lot of pushback from the enterprise level, that they're not going to want to give backdoor access to any governments for a variety of reasons. And there's also all kinds of security issues that pop up and that keep popping up every time they start providing these backdoor accesses. They get exploited, and then people's information gets shared, and then they're like, well, we're working through the problems, working through the issues. So I don't know. It's the world we're living in. Every new day, creates an interesting whack-a-mole problem that we're dealing with.
That's a good way of putting it. Well, it's all about the children, right? They're just trying to help the children, Sean, right?
Yeah, we need to prevent the kids from sharing nude pictures online.
Yeah. I've always wondered how the EU can actually, hurt tech companies that are based in the U.S. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, is it just because the Twitter wants access to that market and they're willing to do whatever? Is that the deal?
Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. It's U.S. companies that wish to do business in Europe are going to have to comply with those rules, which is no different than what Apple and Microsoft and Google are now doing in the UK. They're starting to, even without being forced to, just being, nicely asked by the UK government to provide that level of backdoor access and or prove that people are who they say they are before they even use their device, or they get limited access to, to the internet and to what they can do and functionality on that device. So the manufacturers and the big tech companies are already doing this, and we already know why. It's because they're all owned and controlled by the same entities that are trying to accomplish the same agenda. So it's not surprising that they're seeding these ideas and testing these things out in various different markets.
But the good thing is we have Graphene OS. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Graphene OS is similar to Linux in that it's open source and it's focused on privacy and security. So what that means is now you are in control of your device. So you don't have an operating system that Apple or Google or Microsoft or Amazon really control at the end of the day, which means they see what you see and hear what you hear. And everyone has a story about how they've talked about something or said something, or their device was even off in another room and somehow it picked up the conversation that you were having and started feeding you advertisements for it. That's because your device is not your own. It's the property of Google and Apple and Microsoft, because they literally control that operating system, and they're harvesting all the information and data they possibly can and have been for decades at this point. And they've been using all of that data to seed their different AI platforms and teach and learn or teach these different platforms on how to deal with facial recognition and voice influences or influxes. So all that information has been harvested and is continuing to be harvested. But when you're using Linux or you're using Graphene OS, you're using an operating system that puts you in control, but with that control comes responsibility. So it's no different than me handing you a firearm And I can't say just because I handed you a firearm that you're safe. If you don't know what you're doing with that firearm, you're in fact more of a threat to yourself and the people around you. So we have to get past this mindset that we've had for so long that they've trained us in, which is just use the thing, don't question it. You don't even have to understand how it works or why it works or what it's doing. Just use it. You're going to be better off for it because it's just so convenient. We have to get past that and realize that these tools, these devices that run these operating systems are the most complex psychological warfare weapons ever designed. Mm-hmm. And we have to treat them as such. And if our lives are dependent on these tools and these technologies, we have to learn how they work just at the basic level. So we're not putting ourselves in situations where we're getting robbed blind every day, which is what's happening to those who are using Mac OS, iOS, Microsoft Windows, Google Android, all these different big tech tools. So Graphene OS is designed around privacy and security. It's Android based, which means any Android app will still work on it. And it makes it so that you control your device now. You determine and dictate what has access to your device. So the question is no longer like, well, will this app work or will that app work on the phone? The answer is yes. The better question is, should you even install that app in the first place? Exactly. Because if you install that app, what data are you then going to be feeding to the company that manages and controls that application? So there's no point in getting like a de-Googled phone or a Linux laptop from a privacy and security standpoint if you're then just going to install a bunch of Google software and then give it access to your whole life again. Like there's no point. We need to reframe and rethink and retool how we're using these devices and the different applications that we're using.
Okay, so I'm out in Kansas. I'm listening to you right now. I'm a small businessman. I've got computers. I've got phones. My employees may have phones. I'm worried about what you just said. Tell me how to proceed. How do I save my life from all this interference?
Yeah, so you just have to think of it through the mindset of a migration and like moving a home or even moving your office. Like it's not an easy task. It's not super stupid, simple, stupid, easy, because Google and Apple and Microsoft have created these walled gardens around everything that they're doing. They don't want you to exfiltrate your data out of their environments, out of their worlds. But once you decide, okay, I need to do this, I have to do this, I want to do this, the very first step is you do an audit. That's all you have to do is just do a quick audit. What are the applications that I use on a regular basis that I'm dependent on? So whether that's your email or whether it's different software as a service applications that you get through your browser online. If most of what you're doing right now is using software that's based on a browser, which what most businesses use right now, then it doesn't matter what the operating system is, because all you need is a functional browser and you can get access to that software, which is the vast majority of companies. So a lot of people have anxiety about using these tools when they just don't fundamentally even understand how they work in the first place. So they're fearful about something that's not even an issue at all. So that's a lot of it. It's just getting your head wrapped around what are the applications and tools that you're actually using and dependent on, and then walking backwards through, okay, how can I still access and use these tools in this new environment where I now control my data, versus using Microsoft Office 365 or using Google Apps or using all these other tools that we've been trained to use because it's the only thing that's been available in the marketplace, or at least the only thing that you've known is available in the marketplace, when there are mountains of other options that just don't have multi-billion-dollar marketing budgets to tell you about them and sell you them.
I had an experience. I was at a conference and I rented an Airbnb and I called to get the check-in instructions. And she said, well, you got to download this app and then we'll give you the security key with the app. I thought about it like, I'm going to put your app on my phone. I don't even know who you are. So the app thing is like normal for people. They've been pushing this for a while, right? Just download the app for FedEx and you're fine, right? But what you're saying is that just infiltrates your whole phone and takes everything from you.
Yeah, it definitely can. But the cool thing with something like Graphene OS is they have these sandboxed environments, private spaces environments. So if you have to, you travel a ton, I travel a ton. If you have to use something like Uber, for example, which harvests all kinds of information and data off of your phone, you can actually put that app in its own little quarantine environment on the phone so that that app doesn't actually see anything else that's happening on your device. Of course, it's going to know your information because you've created the account and you've logged in as yourself and you have probably a credit card tied to that account. So it's going to know that, but it's not going to have access to your contacts. It's not going to have access to the other applications that you may have on your phone, which is what it wants access to so that it can sell that information. So there's ways that you can use these tools and so that they're not just aggressively harvesting all of your information, all of your data. And a lot of our customers, for example, use WhatsApp because they have family that's all over the world, and that's like the primary means of communication. WhatsApp is really not a secure application at all. It's owned by Facebook. And there's all kinds of issues with using WhatsApp from a security and privacy perspective. However, some people need to use it. So instead of just saying, well, I have to use WhatsApp, so I may as well just give it up and I may just continue using my iPhone or whatever to do so. You can take that WhatsApp app and you can put it in that quarantine environment, so at least it's not gaining access to everything else on your device. So there's smart ways to do this, and the best way to understand this stuff, it's to think about it like your car, right? It's a super complex machine. And people who try to learn how to drive a new car, it might take you a week or two to get used to like, where's the thing that I'm supposed to go to figure out like how to shift or whatever. You get in a new car when you're traveling for rentals, like it takes a little bit to get used to driving that thing. But after a week or two, or when you're driving after like a couple minutes, you're like, okay, I got this. It's not a big problem. And that's what it is for our customers. Like for anyone who's using these Linux or using Graphene OS, you just have to realize it just takes you just using it. Once you use it, you'll get used to it. And at this point, there are millions of people using these tools and these applications. So we have all kinds of videos and tutorials, not just on our own website, but just online in general that you can go to get smarter to figure out how to do these things. So you're not feeling like you're in the dark trying to figure this out on your own.
All right, so I go to mark37.com/CDM. Very important. Don't forget that last piece. What do I do then?
It's up to you. So if you're ready to, start digging in, I would go to the resources section. I would start reading through our FAQs, start understanding how these tools work. You can watch the video on the very top of that /CDM site is a 90-minute video that is it's Digital Privacy 101. It literally will walk you through. You'll walk out of that 90-minute session, if you have the time, just listening to it, exponentially smarter about what these tools are, how they work, how they operate, why they're so important, all the different ways you're getting screwed by big tech right now that will hopefully light the match under your butt to get moving and doing something, but also really walk you through the solutions. So that's a really great video. The resources section is key. We have at this point over 40 different articles that talk about and teach you about how all these different things work. My expertise is really in taking complex technical information and making it digestible to normies or non-technical people. That's just what I've spent a career doing, in part because I have a dad who's probably one of the least technically savvy people on the planet. And when I was 14, he started bringing home these IBM computers from his office and saying, Sean, learn this and teach it to me. So I've kind of trained myself from an early age on how to do this. So we have a lot of articles that are focused really not in technical writing. They're in just normal speak that will hopefully get you educated on this stuff. And the other thing is we do free 30-minute digital privacy consultations. So if you're like, okay, I get it, but I still have a couple questions, you can, on the top right hand of the page, sign up for a free 30-minute digital privacy consultation, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. And it may not even be using a smartphone. The vast majority of people we talk to, and I'm not even kidding, we direct them to go use a simple dumb phone and do all the stuff that you think you need to do from your phone, from your laptop, get a Garmin GPS for your car, which will help you get, do the navigation that you're afraid of because we've forgotten how to use spatial reasoning skills and forgotten how to use maps. But You can use that Garmin GPS in your car, get a basic flip phone to do your texting and your phone calls and do everything else from your laptop. Even that makes people's minds blow. And they're like, oh my gosh, I've been trained to think that I need this smartphone in my pocket all day long. And what you're telling me is I don't. I should be doing all that from my laptop anyway. I can just use my phone to serve me and not have all this other garbage and crap that I don't even know what it is on my device.
Wow. Yeah, I'm an old helicopter pilot, so finger on a map is as skilled as I had to learn, but it's a lost art. Anyway, thank you so much. Anything else people need to know, Sean?
The only last thing which I leave all my conversations with is people need to start getting in the Word every day, and they need to start getting right with God, because if we're going to be of any impact in the world around us and the people around us, we got to get that situation figured out ASAP.
It's happening, but it can definitely speed up. I see it everywhere. But anyway, Sean, thank you so much, man. I'll have you back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nuclear wasn't a product that was developed and to sell, really. What it really was a journey to get me well after my experience trying to immigrate and get married to an American citizen in order to get my green card. Towards the end, they send you for a medical, and that's where they sat me down and gave me 16 vaccines in one sitting. At the time, I knew when I was going through it that it's probably not good, but I didn't realize that I'm about to go through the worst health experience of my life. And that's when I went on this journey and understand that nutrition is actually your medicine. I've always heard the old people say your food's in your garden, but we didn't get it. And your body is always trying to heal itself. I mean, when you cut yourself in a couple of days, it heals. And that is the process of homeostasis. Your body is always every cell in your body is always healing itself. And just like anything, if you bake a cake or you build a house, you need the right ingredients to achieve the result. Now, if you don't have the correct nutrition and you're not eating the correct food, it's like trying to build a house without bricks. Now, a lot of people, they say, what does nuclear do? Nuclear itself does nothing. It's not designed to do anything. Your body does the work. It gives your body all the things it needs, balanced in, and it works together to deliver the correct nutritional supplement that you need as a human being to function normally.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Welcome back to the SCIF. We're going to close the show up here at about the hour point because Tom Teague had to shift to tomorrow, and I've got to go catch a plane. But I wanted to give you kind of feel good as we go. I mean, you can take it as a feel good or take it or get angry about it. But two Russian lovers climbed the Empire State Building, got on the antenna like 1,500 feet above New York City, and he proposed. And they flew a banner about love and everything, but here's the...
He's got his head, I'm on my mind. We got that love, the crazy kind. I am his and he is mine. In the end, it's him and I.
My 65 speeding up the PCH, a hell of a ride.
Of course, there was danger. They got arrested. They got felony charges. Actually, there's a whole list of charges in the article. You can find that on the Manhattan.press, our New York paper and business paper, the Manhattan.press. But interesting story. Obviously, they do this for clicks, and they were on Netflix and a documentary about them and their adventures. So anyway, thought I'd show you that. Have a good Thursday evening. We'll be back tomorrow with Tom Teague, and I will delve into all this big financial market show. We'll have another financial market provider as well. So see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today on the SCIF.